Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, we'll be talking about IPCONFIG and flushdns. This is the first episode in the IT Helpdesk series, where we will focus on shorter, more practical IT skills. The stuff you'll see here, you may use on your very first day as a Tier 1 Helpdesk tech. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first thing to start with is, what exactly is IPCONFIG, right? Well, it's a command that basically shows you your network configurations. An analogy to help learn this is the house address analogy. Just like your house has a street address, the computer also has an IP address so that network traffic can find it. IPCONFIG shows you that address plus two other critical pieces of info all in about 2 seconds. After running the IPCONFIG command, you'll get something back like the IP address. This is your computer's address on the network. You want to see something like 192.168.1.x or something starting with 10xxx. These are private addresses, right? So this is totally normal and expected. What you'll also get is the subnet mask that defines the size of your network. Don't overthink this too much. For most home and office networks, you'll see something like 255.255.255.0, and just know that if it's blank, something's probably wrong. What you'll also get back is the default gateway. This is basically your router and the door your computer uses to reach the internet. If this is empty, your computer has no path to the internet, and that's usually your first clue when doing diagnostics. So the key takeaway here is the 3 things to pay attention to is the IP, the subnet, and the gateway. Know and familiarize yourself with these 3 fields, and know what healthy looks like for your system and network. Before we go on any further, we're going to take a quick stop to look at a reference cheat sheet. Feel free to take a screenshot or notes. So on the left side, we'll look at IPCONFIG. This is your go-to for any connectivity issues, right? It's always your first move, and you have 3 fields to check: the IP, the subnet, and the gateway. If the IP starts with 169.254, you've most likely found a problem. The bonus command IPCONFIG/all will give you even more details. On the right side, we'll look at IPCONFIG/flushdns. This is your go-to command for site-specific issues. For example, if one website is broken but works elsewhere, you'll probably want to run this before you escalate anything. Together, these 2 commands will handle a huge percentage of the network-related tickets you'll see at a Tier 1 Helpdesk position. You want to learn them, you want to love them, and if you want to, feel free to use IPCONFIG/all to go into full detail mode and get back even more information. Now, the real skill with IPCONFIG isn't just running it, it's reading the output and knowing what all it's saying. So let me show you a healthy versus a broken version. On the left side is a perfect version. You've got a 192.168 address, a subnet mask, and a gateway. The person here is connected, and there's really nothing to fix. Whereas on the right side, it's basically Problem City. That IP address starting with 169.254 is your #1 red flag. That's called an IPCONFIG address. It stands for Automatic Private IP Addressing. So what happened here is the computer tried to get an IP from the router didn't answer, so Windows said, fine, I'll just make one up. And the one it make up starts with 169.254. And here's a key thing to remember, that a 169.254 address cannot reach the internet. It's a dummy address that only lets your computer talk to other devices on the exact same physical connection, and nothing else. So no websites, no servers, nothing. Also notice that there is no default gateway, so that basically confirms that there's no internet path out. So the big question here is, what do you do when something like this happens? Step 1 is you check the physical connection. Is the cable plugged in? Is the Wi-Fi connected? That's usually almost always going to be the culprit in cases. Then you'll probably want to run IPCONFIG/release and IPCONFIG/renew to force the computer to request a fresh IP. We'll cover those in future videos. So for right now, just burn 169.254 into your brain. You see that? You know immediately what the problem is. Now the second command, IPCONFIG/flushdns. And this one is genuinely going to save you so much time on so many tickets. For those who don't know, DNS is basically the internet's phone book. When you type a website address, your computer asks a DNS server for the IP address behind that name. To speed things up, your computer saves the answer locally, and that is called the DNS cache. And here's the problem. That saved answer can go stale. A company might move their website to a new server with a new IP address, so they update DNS. But your computer still has the old answer saved, so when you try and visit the site again, it uses the wrong address, gets something back, and shows you an error. And this is where flushdns comes in. This command clears the cache completely. Next time you visit the site, your computer asks DNS fresh and gets the correct answer. This command, it's pretty simple. You run it and you get back, successfully flush the DNS resolver cache. That's it. Basically done. The table next to this basically shows scenarios where you would want to use the flushdns, and again, you usually want to try it as a quick fix before escalating to higher tiers. For a real-world scenario, you might get a call where somebody says something like, "I can't get our company intranet, but my coworker right next to me can access it fine." That's basically a textbook DNS cache problem, and different computers have different cached answers. You'll basically just run IPCONFIG/flushdns on the broken machine, have them try again, and usually it's going to resolve the issue. Before we end this video, let's look at 3 more practice scenarios which are real tickets you'll probably encounter. Scenario 1 is based off if you get somebody that says, "I can't get on the internet at all." For this, you'd probably run IPCONFIG and check to see if there's a valid IP. Make sure that it's not 169.254. And then you'll probably check to see, is there a gateway? And remember, if the IP is a PIPA, the computer isn't actually connected to the router. So you'll check the cable or check the Wi-Fi, and if needed to, you can use /release and /renew. For number 2, it's basically based off the scenario if somebody says, "My specific website won't load." What you'll do here first is run IPCONFIG/flushdns. Then you'll ask the user to try the site again, and if it still doesn't work, you'll test from a phone on the same network. If it works on the phone, then it's probably a cache issue, and you'll want to clear that. If that doesn't work, then you'll probably still have to escalate it to tier 2, because that's outside the scope of this video for now. For the third scenario, it's basically based on if somebody tells you, "Well, it worked yesterday, but it's broken today." What you'll do here is basically just check IPCONFIG to see if it's a changed IP. Next, you'll probably want to run a flushdns, and then you'll test it again. If an update ran overnight, it may have reset something. If you can't find it, at that point again, you'll escalate to tier 2. This is a tier 1 video. Later on, I'll probably make a tier 2 Helpdesk series. But for now, just stick to these steps. What I'm really trying to teach you here and instill in you is the golden habit. Run IPCONFIG first on basically every single network call. 3 seconds is all it takes, and it tells you everything you need to start the diagnosis. Do this every time, and you'll close tickets faster than most techs. And with that, we've basically wrapped up and reached the end of the video. So let's do a quick recap of everything. Remember that IPCONFIG is basically your network ID card. It's your first command on every single network call, and you have 3 fields to pay attention to: the IP, subnet, and the gateway. Next is the DNS cache cleaner, flushdns. This is for site-specific loading issues, and it usually takes about 5 seconds to run. Third is a PIPA, the accursed 169.254 address. This is a major red flag that indicates that there's no valid IP, and it usually starts with a physical connection. Lastly is IPCONFIG/all, which I may be doing in episode 2. Just know that this is IP configuration, but it gives you way more information for a more detailed diagnostic. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much, and have a great day.